This is our first hunt together, deer hunting down here, since he pushed me off and I broke my back.
Getting rough when I stop believing I'm not tough enough to be free. I just go hunting with you. That's when we know. That's when we go. When it's just us hunting.
Well, I do a lot of deer hunting. Most of it is done on our own property or just off our own property. I know the area really well. It's a convenient spot to hunt. I have a whack of locations back there that I move the stand around from year to year depending on where I see the best deer movement, I guess. It's prime area, and there are a number of locations to set up. So it's a honey hole, that's what I call it. We've shot a lot of big deer out of there in the past. Earlier on, like later spring, early summer, I'll go back and put out my salt licks in various locations. And I try to cut out my shooting lanes so a typical shot is less than 20 yards. And in all cases but one, I've taken my deer, they're all under 20 yards, under 20-yard shots.
Well, we've got everything set up here tonight. First evening, opening day. Pretty warm day here today. It's probably about plus 18 here. Really quiet. We're right in along the edge of a bush here, cornfield off to my right. We're just going to sit back and relax here for a couple hours. There's been a good sign along the edge of this field. This field back behind me here, this is a strip of bush that's about maybe 75 yards wide, and it runs pretty near the whole length of the farm. So it's a real good corridor. We'll sit back, relax, and hopefully something comes in. Opening day.
I have to be to work at a certain time, and I'm home later in the afternoon. So I don't have a lot of time after work. And I don't typically deer hunt first thing in the morning either. So my time is restricted as far as the early season hunt goes. This particular year, I got set up and actually saw a deer early in the season. So I tried to target them, and I got out as much as I possibly could earlier on. But that's not typical for me. I'm usually a later season hunter, like when there is some snow on the ground, like early December, late November, early December on into the end of the year. I was out, it was actually the second or third day out up in my tree stand, and I had this spike buck come in.
Well, that was our first encounter with the species we're after. It's good to see. We had this guy come in from behind me actually, and never really offered a shot. Never actually saw him until he was within about 20 yards of me, and I just happened to hear a little bit of rustle in the leaves. Could have been a squirrel, but it was a nice little spiker. He actually came right directly under the tree and then left, leaving me with really no shot because he was going straight away the whole time. So good to see. Second time out this year. And we've seen a whitetail. Last year it was into the second month before I saw my first deer, so there's definitely more deer around this year. Anyway, sit tight. Stay tuned to Just Us Hunting.
This segment brought to you by Lake Huron Chrysler. The tip of the week is brought to you by The Bear Essentials, your wilderness experience guides. Over the years, I've heard some harrowing stories. Tents catching fire, cabins being burnt, even people dying because they threw naphtha gas on a wood stove fire thinking it was water. Generally speaking, people are lazy. They don't want to lug a 20-pound fire extinguisher on their hunts. While there are alternatives that are way safer than a customary fire extinguisher and way easier to use. It may not only save your camp, but it may save your life as well. Police, fire, and tactical teams are using them. Why aren't you? And that's your Just Us Hunting Tip of the Week.
After Rick's situation that he had the year before, he had fell out of a tree stand, and we were hunting together. And I managed to get a couple days, so I don't get to do it very often, but Rick usually finds new property, and he invited me to come down, so I came down to do some hunting for 3-4 days. Usually October, it's funny down here. It's a hit and miss. You could get some solid rain for 2-3 days. Other times it could be cold. The mornings are quite cool down here, I find. And then we had times we'd be hunting out of t-shirts.
Well, Gary made it down from Northern Ontario. We got a couple stands set up, seen some real nice rubs. Not sure how many deer are there, but we know there's a few quality deer. I owe him. This is our first hunt together, deer hunting down here, since he pushed me off and I broke my back.
Still accused of that.
Sweet, sweet revenge, man. This time I will film it.
Yeah, well, every time we get together, Rick and I, we're, you know, sometimes we act a little younger than what we are. We do some silly things.
Jimmy Big Time! Was that a filler for your pumpkin, or is that just, Don't cry, it's not that bad, dear. It's not that bad.
Better stop.
Garry LaBelle, Adventure State. We'll head out there, we'll sit up into the stands and see if we could see one of those bucks or even a small one. No matter what, I'm gonna put something down that's buck-wise and bring it home for some meals and make some sausages and whatever out of it. So weather-wise, can't complain. It's cleared up compared to what it was yesterday. So I'll just grab my bow and we'll head off. Oh, you know, the pressure is a bit much, but I'm so gung-ho to get out there. It'd be that. You know, I could run in some stupid situations. About to head out there. What am I forgetting? My release. It's not good at all. Not good at all. We're just before our stand over here. Like you can see over here, beautiful rub they have here. Got a little bit on this tree, but this tree here, they've been really scraping up pretty good. Hopefully we could see that guy today. No more than probably about 60 yards away from our stand. That's a good sign. Be nice. Well, we're up in a tree stand. I'll set it up. Now it just takes patience and wait for our deer to come out. Still nothing yet, but we still got a couple hours to go here. We didn't see anything today at all for deer anyways. Wind picked up a little there too also, and it cooled right down, but I was surprised. I thought for sure we would have seen a deer tonight. But we have tomorrow. I'll be out here early in the morning, and same thing in the evening, so see what happened those days there. So hopefully we can see something and shoot at it.
Well, we've got a new stand location, new as in never hunted this spot before. It's actually in the same block that I hunted last year, but probably a good 200 yards from where my other tree stand was last year.
There was a couple of does and a fawn had come in, but of course we have this big buck contest, so the first deer that I try and target is something that's got antlers on it. There are a few ricks on there, you know, like biggest buck. A lot of John turkeys on there. Like I'm not very good at counting, but I'm pretty sure I've dominated the turkey part of it.
Back in here again a couple of days later, and it's a lot cooler here today. It's about +6 here this afternoon. Wind's right out of the north-northwest. Good wind for in here.
Typically, the wind direction back there, it's a tough spot to get back into. And I know some people will just hunt an area and they don't pay attention to the wind too much, but I try and pay attention to the wind as much as possible. So I hunt both sides of the river, and it's strictly with the wind. Like if the wind is wrong for one side, I stay out of it. I'll go to the opposite side of the river. And usually one or the other works.
Saw some decent fresh sign on the way in. A couple of really big tracks, so we're gonna sit tight here this afternoon and hopefully connect with something.
This segment brought to you by APA Bows. This one-time memory is brought to you by Lake Huron Chrysler, bringing the fun back into buying a vehicle.
I remember this one time, it was a Saturday, 3 kids in hockey, early season archery. I had just wanted to get out with my oldest son, and it happened that my phone rang at the arena, and my parents offered to take the 2 younger boys while I took my older son out and sat for the evening. As we were walking in, we spooked 4 deer to the south over into another hardwood area. We went to the tree stand and sat there, and it said, "Bud, well, we might as well give it a try. We have the day." As it happens, those 4 deer eventually made their way back through a few hours later. I made a great shot on them, and my son's eyes went bigger than golf balls, and he couldn't believe I took the shot. He was so surprised, and that's a moment I will never forget.
There's what I would call a bedding area, and I try and get as close to that as possible without disturbing the bedding area. So on this particular night, I had a decent little buck come in, and decided that I would take it. So when it presented the shot, I took the shot, and I was pretty confident in the shot. It disappeared on me into the bush, and there's only, maybe less than 200 yards from me to the river, so then that's usually the direction they end up going.
I just reviewed the footage there, and it looked like a nice center shot, about 22 yards. And that's the same deer that came in earlier on, bedded behind me about 50 yards, and then circled back around through the swamp, came back into my left here. So anyway, we're going to give this guy a little bit here. It's going to be dark here probably in the next half hour, so we'll give him another 15-20 minutes. Straight west of me here, and he was headed to the river, so, but looked like a good shot, so hopefully the recovery won't be too long. Success.
Decided I'd get out of there as quietly as possible, get back up to the house, changed my clothes. And I gave Rick and Louise a call, and we spent maybe 5-10 minutes at the most. The deer only went about 50 yards, but it disappeared into some thick stuff, so it was hard to see from the tree stand.
And there he is.
Well, I got out early today, probably out in the stand about 2 o'clock, and got in here and set up, and I heard a deer coming in off to my right, and it was like right on top of me before I had a chance to even get camera rolling. And I just got footage of it going by me, slow, couldn't get a shot. And I think it is the same deer, but on actual looking at the footage, I don't think it is. I think this is a different deer. But that guy, he bedded down behind my tree stand 50 yards from me. I grunted at him and did some doe bleeding, and he just kind of disappeared back behind me. And it wasn't maybe 10 minutes later, this guy comes out off to my right directly behind me. And yeah, come right in nice. 22 yards, made a good shot. He only made it, well, maybe 70 yards from the tree stand, just out of sight of the tree stand. And yeah, great way to start the season. There we go. We're legal.
Closed captioning brought to you by The Archery Place. Vehicle graphics supplied by Artec. The Hunter Profile is brought to you by APA. We are not the same.
I have been hunting for about 20 years. My weapon choice is the bow and arrow, but I do also like to shoot with shotguns and rifles. I have taken a couple of turkey with the shotgun. I have also gone upland bird hunting as well. My off-season practice would be shooting 3D archery targets and going out to the club and practicing at others with the guns. My big dream would be to go big game hunting with my husband, whether bear or moose. And my husband and my grandfather have been my biggest influences in my life for hunting and outdoors. And my name is Linda Kleinecht, and this is my profile.
So now Rick and I are heading off to the tree stand for the evening. And you know what? Life is good, I'll tell you that. We're heading out there and hopefully we can see some deers. That'd be the bonus. If not, well, it's just Rick and I and just good friendship.
Gary's up this week from Timmins hunting, and I hope that you see something at least. Mars was just here and he saw a doe and a fawn. So I hope that Garry sees something. It's really frustrating when you don't, but I mean, that's part of the game, right? You don't see something every time, and it makes it, when you do see something, 10 times more special. So, if not tonight, I hope he sees something tomorrow and takes it down, slays it, puts some stainless steel in him.
Be nice to see him get a buck bigger, It's only down for a short period of time, and it's nice to be able to go home and put some venison in your freezer. So all we have is buck tags. We don't have any doe tags, so that limits its options as well.
We had tried about 3-4 different sites, a couple new properties. Rick and I, we hunted together. We split up a couple times, and we weren't having any success of seeing anything at all. The only thing actually we seen the one night Rick was filming me, he had a coyote come in from behind. He didn't even bother telling me it was there. He managed to get a little bit of footage of it, and once we got back down on the ground from the stand, he goes, "Oh, did you see that coyote?" I says, "No." "Oh, okay," So he just left me out in the blind again there.
So, dude.
When the first time Rick had moved down in this area, we had sat down in some stands, and I think one night we had about 16 to 18 deer come out, like in no time at all. Now it's hard to see one deer in 3-4 days. It seems like the population's declined. I don't know if it's because of the coyotes, weather, Maybe hard hunting. I'm not sure. It's hard to say.
Right now in all the other shows, you'd be seeing 30, 40 big bucks standing out in the field. The host passing up 140 glass bucks. Well, folks, this is it. This is the real hunting around here. You don't have 40, 50 bucks show up every night. And if 140 glass buck ever showed up in front of me, holy smokes, would I be happy. Anyhow, this is real hunting. This is how it happens. This is for people like you and I, people like Just Us Hunting. Stay tuned.
You know, sometimes we act a little younger than what we are. We do some silly things, and it's a great pastime with each other. We do a lot of talking. We manage to do some hunting, do some scouting. We go out and play a little bit of golf, but altogether it's just spending good quality time with each other.
Just Us Hunting would like to thank these great sponsors. Rescue 7, AEDs saves lives. Cold Fire Canada. Our mission, everyone gets home safe. Dynablast, industrial hot and cold pressure washers. APA Bows, choose your venom. The Archery Place, offering you a wide range of archery products and services. Lake Huron Chrysler, bringing the fun back into buying a vehicle. Arctex Signs and Graphics. Howitzer Arrows, be the difference. The Bear Essentials, your wilderness experience guides. And Eltan Safe Outdoors, your first front in the hunt.
If you have videos of your hunts and you'd like to see them on this show, go to our website, justushunting.com, and email us directly. Who knows, maybe you'll see your hunts right here on Just Us Hunting.
Getting rough, and I stop believing I'm not tough enough to be free.